Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'm going to start it off in 2nd Esdras chapter 8, verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. And all these adverse events taking place all across the planet, from economic uncertainty and turmoil, cost of living crisis, adverse weather events, civil unrest, wars, is all the judgments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. These many great miseries coming down upon you people for the great pride you've been walking in these last days, which we are in. Really the last seconds of the last days, and especially you people in the United States of America. And hey, these Western Edomite or so-called white people countries as a whole. And in this video, I'm going to go into 2 clips showing, hey, you average Americans and I think some British people as well in the clips I'll be playing in. But, overall, you Western, minded people are really going through it right now. And again, hey, these are the judgments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai coming down upon you for the great pride you've been walking in. And it's only going to get worse from here on out. As it says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 8, all these are just the beginning of sorrows. But the first clip I'll go to is on Manj Talks Money's YouTube channel, titled "The Cost of Living is Making People Give Up." And I'm going to play first couple of minutes of this clip, but this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this video, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes. And, some of the clips that this lady's about to play, I think were in a previous video I did. But hey, as the economic situation continues to deteriorate out here, hey, these clips just become more and more prophetic. But let's get into it.
Everywhere I go or online, people are talking about the same thing. Prices going up and wages staying the same and budgets getting tighter. Rent, food, energy bills, everything costs more and it's only getting worse. The cost of living crisis isn't just a headline, it's real. And it's hitting millions of people across the UK and the US. Right, let's get straight into the first clip.
And I thought it was the UK that was on its arse. Seems like these Americans are really fucking struggling with the cost of living crisis. Check this video out. Tell me it don't break your heart. How can someone earning $80,000 a year be struggling to live? This is fucked.
And we are literally the brokest we've ever been. Brokest we've ever been.
But I'm making the most money I ever had my entire life. My husband and I, between the two of us, gross, make like over $80,000 a year. And if you told me a few years ago that $80,000 a year was not going to be enough for a family of 4.
I make more than what I made back in 2015. But I am still literally living paycheck to paycheck.
I have to work 60 hours a week and make $80,000 a year to make ends meet. That's insane.
And you'll notice in a lot of these clips I'll be playing, it's mainly women complaining. That great humbling is coming towards you Western feminist type women out here, especially you women of the tribes, you Israelite women, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Hey, old KS had it right on that. Winter is coming.
I can't even begin to wrap my head around it.
Financially, I don't understand anymore. I don't understand how I make $34 an hour and I can't function. I can't function. I can't pay my bills.
I came across this social media clip where people in the US earning what's considered a good salary are still struggling, some even with 2 incomes in the household. Yet they're barely getting by. Some can't even afford basic necessities. The cost of living is rising because wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Prices for housing, food, and energy have skyrocketed, but salaries have barely increased. Sure, there are factors we don't see. Everyone's expenses are different, and some people simply mismanage their money.
And a lot of this inflation and, all these different economic policies that are getting put in place that just don't make sense. Hey, it's not just out of the blue. There is a purpose behind it too. The elites, such as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, you have it. Hey, they're ready to crash this system and bring in that great RESET, that fourth industrial, revolution, their NWO. And one of the quickest ways to do that would be what? A total financial economic collapse, a depression, to get you people desperate out here so that when they come with the solution, which is what? You getting that RFID/NFC micro C-hip implant, which is the mark of the BEAST in Revelation 13, verses 16 to 18, you people will be more than happy to jump onto it to get back to some semblance of normalcy. Look at what the majority of you people did during 2019 to 2021, just to be able to go back to your favorite restaurants, go to the gym, or keep your job at O'Reilly Auto Parts. You took that juice. But real quick, this is Proverbs 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. As we're clearly seeing in all these clips, people are mourning out here. That's because the wicked is in rulership. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job chapter 9, verse 24, and the border of wickedness in Malachi 1, verse 4, who has a system completely contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments in the scriptures, which is the only correct way to run anything. Hence, why, like a race car, everything in this society is in the red. And like I just said, the elites are also orchestrating a lot of these events to bring you people to your knees so that you can accept, that reset. But when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. There is an end to all of this. When Esau and these heathens as a whole are taken out of power, and the true children of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, beginning with the elect, are back in power, we're going to govern this world under the laws, statutes, and commandments. And everything, well, as they say, the ship is going to be right-sided up. But let's get back to this clip.
But what about those who budget wisely and still can't make ends meet? The reality is, for many, the system is working against them. We moan about the
But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
UK cost of living, but it's happening in the US and other parts of the world. This next clip is something I deal with on a weekly basis, and that food prices.
This is another reason we're leaving this country. We want some lamb mince to make a kebab and it's £7.50. Look at the pack. The size of my hand. Getting absolutely ripped off in this country.
£7.50.
And I've had enough. City.
I just mentioned on how food prices are spiked. In this clip, you can see a small portion of lamb, not even a big cut, costs £7.50. Now, I know lamb is usually more expensive than other meats, but £7.50, that's ridiculous. For a family of 4, you'd need at least 2 or 3 packets, and that's before adding anything else to the meal. I'm seeing more and more families packing up and moving abroad.
This is Revelation chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 5. And this is dealing with, the so-called 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which are just representative of things that would be taking place in the last days. Hey, what did the header in Blue Letter Bible say the third seal, famine, which famines are coming. You know, it remains to be seen what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, but a bunch of pundits over here have been saying that due to Trump's tariffs, expect to see a C-19 style empty store shelves. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Verse 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And when we get that word penny in the Strongs, it's G1220, denarion, which in the outline of biblical usage says a Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. And in the ancient world, you know, and especially according to our laws, you know, whatever a man worked, he was paid that very same day. It's not like today where, you know, majority of people are paid every 2 weeks or so, which is completely wicked. So let's transfer this to modern times. US dollar, the British pound, whatever. A measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny, paying damn near your entire paycheck to get a decreasing amount of food and other goods and items, which we clearly just saw with that clip. But let's see. Yeah, that's about it with this first video. She just goes on talking about, you know, moving out of the country to someplace cheaper, but that's not going to save you. Hey, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai is about to touch this entire planet and bring great miseries for the great pride you people have been walking in. But now I'm going to go to my second clip on a Homestead Journeys YouTube channel titled "Why Millions Are Saying America Is Not Worth It Anymore in 2025, which Apostle Tahar has deemed the hopeful year of the deliverance of the elect of the nation of Israel and the destruction of Esau, Edom, which, hey, Abaratazah, this is the year. But regardless, with all these things taking place and the miseries we're seeing the average person going through, we know our salvation is nearer than when we believed. But again, this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Well, it's not just inflation anymore. It's practically an epidemic. And in 2025, surviving in America obviously is getting harder by the day, and millions of people are feeling it.
Listen to me. I will never be able to afford a house. I will never be able to afford a house.
Home prices are rising nationwide as inflation remains stubborn and mortgage rates remain high as Americans compete for fewer available homes. Home prices in March were up 0.4% compared to February. Now that's the second month in a row that we have seen gains.
My parents' house that is $195,000 back in '96 is now worth like $500,000 to $700,000. My children will never be able to have the life I live because I can't afford to do it.
I don't think any of us thought when we were growing up that owning a home would be a luxury. Like maybe we thought it would be a bit difficult, but not like a luxury that basically only the rich will be able to afford.
No one that works a full-time job should be facing homelessness. And that's what my family is facing right now.
I'm being completely radicalized by the rental housing market right now. I cannot believe that you can pay over $300 in non-refundable fees just to apply for an apartment.
A big part of the reason why social life here in America is getting more and more difficult has to do with the fact that nobody can afford decent housing.
Everybody in America kind of knows, like, it's over. Like, there will be no recovery. Like, this is not like the other times. This ain't like 2008 where, oh, we'll crash and then we'll get back up. Because right now this...
Hey, she made a beautiful point. It's over, which, Just like Michael Jackson's last tour was going to be titled, This Is It. But this is Isaiah 24. I'm going to start at verse 7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. And we're seeing a bunch of sighing in all those clips. The mirth of the tabret ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. And we've especially seen it over this last holiday season with a bunch of people just complaining that, look, I can't afford to get presents for my kids. I can't even afford to get a goddamn turkey. And a lot of people saying, this Christmas, just doesn't feel the same anymore. This Thanksgiving, Halloween, etc., because people are stressed out. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Instead of going out to the bar to celebrate a job promotion or a night on the town, people are drinking and doing drugs in increasing numbers, especially in the United States of America, to drown out the misery of their situation. And also suicidal, self-deletion thoughts and self-deletions themselves have been on the increase in the United States of America. The city of confusion is broken down, and Babel, which is Babylon in the Hebrew, means confusion. In the United States of America is Babylon the Great in the scriptures. So the city of confusion, the United States of America, is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. And a lot of these businesses are laying off people in the thousands to tens of thousands and shutting up some of their locations. And then also, as we're seeing, a lot of these people aren't able to afford to get a house, even a small house, due to the increase in prices on those. So those houses are shut up for them that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And that crying for wine goes into people crying for answers out here. What are we going to do? How are things going to get better? And the only true answers you're going to find are from the prophets, the men of the Lord, chiefly of GMS or Great Millstone. But even at that, you have to be an Israelite of the elect. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, opening up your spiritual eyes and ears to see these things and prepare accordingly. But for the majority of you people, especially 2/3 of our people in the United States of America, hey, you're going to run down to Egypt, Esau, the government for help. And like I said earlier, the solution they're going to have for you is to take that C-HIP. You will own nothing and be happy. Let's X some of these out.
This economy, this world is set up to make average American families fail.
And I'm appalled that our particular kind of capitalism not only fails to deal with the housing problem, but somehow routinizes it so that the homelessness is blamed on the homeless, blaming the victim kind of, because I can see why a society does it, because if you're such a failure at providing this basic human need, you better blame somebody, because otherwise you risk blaming yourself.
Probably gonna make some people mad, but I don't feel like 90% of us make enough money to even worry about the economy crashing. Everybody is like, the stock market's gonna crash, share prices are going down, and I'm like, I never got a share in the first place. The housing market is plummeting. Maybe I'll finally be able to afford one.
On a quick side note, he might be an Israelite foreigner. He's just a little too funny, but that's neither here nor there.
I want to be in a tariff tax bracket to where I can actually care. The rate we're going, no one's ever going to be able to afford a new car. I've not been able to do that anyway.
I can get my hands on a nice lump sum of money, baby. I'm buying land in another country and I'm out of here because there's nothing left here but struggle.
Hi there, my name is Tyler.
Well, boo-boo, that's not for you. For the majority of you women who are going to feel the brunt of this collapse and the ensuing chaos. Hey, you've been living on the high horse for the last couple of decades because Esau has been giving you those goodies. But as we can see, he's rescinding those goodies. And a lot of you women are being asked out here, especially you women of the tribes, especially you so-called black women of the southern kingdom, Judah mainly, you got Benjamin and Levi. This is Isaiah 32, verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters, through the prophets, telling you of these things to come and what you need to do to, get right and go back to being a submissive, meek woman, whether you're by yourself or whether you have your husband, to, not be a burden unto him with that, 50-50, I'm a boss bitch attitude. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. And we're seeing a lot of women complaining, showing that they are troubled right now, and things haven't even gotten anywhere near as bad as they're going to get. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. With a lot of Trump's DEI, rescinding efforts and Doge, a lot of you women have been mainly affected by losing your government jobs. A lot of these businesses are starting to lay you off, and even more of you are going to get laid off, and they're going to be cutting back on those government benefits for you, SNAP, welfare, child support, you name it. The gathering shall not come. And hey, when you can't call those 3 magical letters 911 anymore, hey, may the force be with you. Verse 11, tremble ye women that are at ease, be troubled ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare and gird sackcloth upon your loins. And for you Israelite women, because that's the only ones we're speaking to right now, you should be in a spirit of humbling yourselves and, mourning right now, seeking repentance from your power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. But we know the majority of you aren't going to do that. You're just going to double down on your pride. So those great miseries are going to double down on you. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine, all those benefits you received from this metropolis, America, the mother city, the mother of harlots. Verse 13, upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briers, yeah, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city. Hard times ahead, Jacob's trouble, a time worse than any other point in human history. And a lot of you women are going to get that Micah 7 and 10 treatment. Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, that said, where's thy power? I'm roughly paraphrasing. And she shall be as the mire, the shit, the mud in the streets, because you're going to get trodden down.
Even though I work between 50 and 60 hours every single week, I am homeless living here in my car because of inflation. There wasn't any help to keep me in my apartment. Even though I paid my rent on time for 3 years, I got behind just 2 weeks because I lost my job for reasons outside of my control. And I called the city, I called the county, I called the state, I called charitable organizations like Salvation Army and churches, and I was told time and time again that there was no help for me. The most that was given to me was being put on a 7-year wait list for
And even though he's a Edomite and a Moed that, hey, he said he was calling all these different organizations for help, and they said, we can't help you. Put him on a waiting list. The vintage shall fail. The teach shall fail.
Affordable housing. I believe that this is wrong. There's so many hardworking people like myself, tens of thousands of hardworking Americans that are out here trying to survive, but we can't afford a place to live anymore, and we're being forced to live in our cars, and I believe that is wrong.
Rent is so high, insurance.
That's it with this clip. But as we can clearly see, the city of confusion continues to break down, and all the merry-hearted are sighing, and that prideful look of you people is being humbled, and it's only going to continue to humble as Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai continues to bring those great miseries upon you. And when everything's said and done, you people out here will know that there is a higher power, and that he is wrathful and vengeful. and he will get that respect on his name again. But this is Isaiah chapter 2. I'm going to read verses 11 to 12. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and Yahweh, which is the true name of the Heavenly Father, alone shall be exalted in that day, which his prophets are exalting his name, as well as the name of his son, Yahushai, right now. For the day of Yahweh of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low. Point blank, period. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.